One of the largest community development projects in the works in recent years has centered around the construction of a new youth sports complex in St. Joseph. News Press Now's Cameron Montemare is live at Missouri Western to give us the latest development on this project. Cameron, what can you tell us?
Kirsten, I'm standing here just by James McCarthy Drive. Farron Street is just to my north, and you can see the northern portion of Missouri Western's campus just behind me. There is a considerable amount of undeveloped land out here. Roughly 70 acres of this land is being targeted right now by the city and Missouri Western as a potential location for that youth sports complex, and we've been following that project closely here at News Press Now. The city told us previously that they had set a May deadline to make a determination on that bond measure for the upcoming August election. Now, we learned today that the city has decided to hold off by 1 year to make the decision on that bond measure, putting the earliest the voters could see that as August of 2026. St. Joseph residents will not be heading to the polls this year to decide whether to pass a bond measure to construct a large-scale youth sports complex on the campus of Missouri Western State University. But key discussions and project planning will continue in the meantime on the project, one of considerable public interest. City officials have decided to push back their timeline by at least 1 year to decide whether to pursue a GO bond measure to develop the complex, a facility last estimated to cost between $85 and $105 million. St. Joseph Planning and Community Development Director Clint Thompson said additional details on the project, including cost projections and a plan for bond repayment, still need to be determined before the city decides to pull the trigger.
One of the things that we're working with the consultant at this point is to have a better understanding if there can be some economic activity that can exist adjacent to the project, with the possibility that it makes a potential project more attractive.
Thompson said the goal of finding additional attractions is to help generate more revenue that would limit how much a potential bond measure and its tax increase would be for residents. More importantly, additional time will be used to evaluate all of the city's needs and determine how more debt would impact other areas like services and infrastructure. Most GO bonds have to be repaid over a 20-year period and rely on raising property taxes to do so.
The city has not issued debt previously through that type of mechanism in the past. How can we ensure that we take care and make sure that those costs are met before we go out and take on an additional debt that may be serviced by the taxpayers?
With all 9 members of St. Joseph City Council up for re-election next year, before a new staggered term limits take effect, the makeup of that council will have a notable effect on what direction the city takes. Yeah, and at one time that project was discussed as potentially being a split project between the East Hill Shopping Center and Missouri Western. Now the campus is now being identified as a sole location for that. Many moving parts to this project. Make sure to stay with us here at News Press Now as we bring you all the latest. Reporting live here on the campus of Missouri Western, I'm Cameron Montemare.